The reason I know my husband is a dirty cheater is because an Amazon package shows up at my house. I didn't order it. I thought it was a mistake because the address was different, but for some reason it had my husband's name on it. So I went to our Amazon account and checked the invoice ID. Turns out it's a baby crib. Well, I'm not pregnant and I don't know why he would be buying it. So I go to the address and you will not believe what my eyes see. I see my husband. I see that he's with some strange woman and she looks pregnant. She looks really pregnant. So I'm going to confront them.
I'm sorry this is long. I literally don't know where else to put this and I can't sleep. It's 3 a.m. and I'm sitting on my kitchen floor next to a pile of Aldi bags. I haven't unpacked it yet. Just existing. I keep replaying the same voicemail from my sister asking if I'm okay. But honestly, I don't even know if that makes sense anymore. My whole life feels like it was built on quicksand. I guess I should start from the beginning. But the beginning feels like it was years ago now, even though it's only been 6 months since the thing started to fill off. My husband Jasper lost his job back in October, a marketing position at some tech startup that went under the radar. Not his fault. They laid off like 60% of their staff. I remember being worried about money, obviously, but mostly I was worried about him. He took it really hard, really hard. He'd always been super driven, ambitious, the kind of person who had 5-year plans and color-coded spreadsheets for everything. Seeing him just deflate was heartbreaking. At first, I thought the changes were normal. He started staying up all night, said he could not sleep anyways. Might as well do something productive. He got really into this online gaming stuff. Multiplayer strategy game I've never heard of. He would be up till 5 in the morning, then sleep until 3 in the afternoon. When I would get home from work, he would be groggy and distant, like he was still half asleep. I figured he was just processing everything. Everybody handles unemployment differently. I tried to be supportive. I would make coffee in the afternoon instead of morning so we could enjoy it together. I'd ask about his day, but he never really had much to say. Just been applying for jobs, he would mumble. Then go back to his computer. I offered to help him polish his resume, look through job boards together, maybe practice interview questions. But every time I would bring it up, he would get this look on his face, not angry exactly, but defensive, like I was attacking him.
I've got it handled, Cal. I just need some space to figure it out.
So I backed off. I figured the best thing I could do was to take the pressure off, handle everything else so he could focus on finding work. I started paying everything, groceries, gas, rent, utilities. Our savings were not huge, but we had enough to get by for a few months if we were careful.
I figured it was temporary.
But months went by and nothing seemed to change. He would tell me about interviews that he had coming up, but they were always vague, like,
next week. They're supposed to call me back.
When I'd ask for details, what company, what position, he'd get that same defensive look. Said he didn't want to jinx anything by taking too much time to talk about it. Our friends started asking where he's gone to.
We used to be social people, game nights, dinner parties, weekend trips.
But Jasper stopped wanting to go anywhere. I would make excuses, he's not feeling well, he's got an early morning, and work has been crazy. Except work had not been anything for months. I felt embarrassed but also protective. I didn't want people to think less of him just because he was going through a rough time.
The weird thing is, after a while, he actually started going out more. He would disappear for hours in the afternoon, come back around dinner time, said he was networking, meeting up with old colleagues, helping friends with side projects. I was actually relieved. It felt like he was finally getting back out there, taking initiative. When I'd asked how it went, he'd be vague but positive, like good connections, lots of opportunities. I started feeling like I was living with a stranger. He barely touched me anymore, said he just wasn't in the mood, too stressed about everything, and I told myself it was normal. Unemployment's hard on relationships, financial stress kills intimacy, all that stuff you read about, but it hurt. I felt invisible in my own home. The money thing started getting weird. I've been tracking our expenses more closely since he lost his job, just to make sure we were not overspending. But I kept seeing these random charges, gas stations across the way, restaurants I've never heard of, and stuff that did not make a lick of sense. When I asked about them, Jasper always had an explanation. He borrowed someone's car and filled it up for him. He grabbed takeout for a friend who was having a rough time. He bought lunch for a networking contact, and he's just always helping someone else, always being generous, even when we can't afford it. I found a phone charger behind our couch a few weeks ago. Not ours, different brand, different cable. And when I asked about it, Jasper barely looked up from his computer. Oh, that's my old work charger, found it in a box. Except his old work phone was an iPhone, and this was an Android charger. I didn't say anything, I don't know why. I guess I didn't want to be that person, you know? That suspicious wife who goes through her husband's belongings and questions every little thing. I trusted him. Even when things felt off, even when the explanation did not quite add up, I trusted him. Gosh, I feel so stupid now. The Amazon package showed up last Tuesday. I was working from home, and the delivery driver could not fit it in our mailbox, so he buzzed our apartment number. I signed for it without really looking, figured it was something Jasper ordered. Maybe job interview clothing or something. But when I looked at the package, the shipping address was off. It's not our apartment, but some address across town I've never heard of. I figured it was obviously a mistake. Like the driver delivered to the wrong building, and I signed for someone else's package. I was about to call Amazon support to report the error when I saw the order number on the shipping label. Okay, so I logged into our shared Amazon account to look up the order, thinking, maybe I could figure out who it was supposed to go to. And that's when I saw what was inside. A baby crib. A baby crib. I stared at the screen, and I didn't know for how long. Some expensive convertible crib, the kind that turns into a bed later, for a toddler. You know, white with gray accents, $400, ordered 3 days ago with the next day shipping. My hands were shaking as I clicked through the order details. The billing address was ours, our apartment, our credit card, but the shipping address was 47 Maple Commons, Unit 12B, someplace I've never heard of. I googled the address and it came up to a luxury condo complex on the other side of town. Short-term, furnished, rental, the kind of place you would stay if you were relocating for work or going through a divorce. Average rent was $2,800 a month. I felt like I was going to throw up. I don't remember making the decision to drive out there. I just found myself in my car. Hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. GPS guiding me through parts of the city. And, well, places I've never been to. Nice parts, new development with fancy landscape even. And names like The Reserve at somewhere and Luxury Living at whatever. Maple Commons was exactly what I'd expected. Sleek glass buildings arranged around a man-made pond, each unit with its own balcony and assigned parking space. I parked across the street and just sat there. I didn't even know what I was looking for, some kind of explanation maybe that would make this make sense. I waited for 2 hours. My phone kept buzzing with work emails, but I couldn't focus on anything except the front door of Unit 12B. What was I doing? What was I expecting to see? And then I saw him. Jasper's car pulled into a visitor's parking area at 4 p.m. I watched him get out, check his phone, walk up to the front door like he's done it 1,000 times. He had keys. He unlocked the door and went inside like he lived there. I sat in my car until almost midnight, waiting for him to come out. When the lights finally went off, I drove home in a daze. Jasper's car was not in our parking spot. I went upstairs and sat on our couch, staring at nothing until I heard his key in the door around 2 a.m. Hey, babe. Didn't want to wake you up. Where were you? Oh, just helping Marcus with his move. Took way longer than expected, babe. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab him by the shoulders and shake him and demand to know what the hell was going on. But instead, I just nodded and went to bed, and you know what? I didn't even sleep. The next morning, I called in sick to work and spent the day going through our finances. Really going through them. Not just the cursory check that I've been doing. I pulled bank statements, credit card bills, everything. The monthly payment to Maple Commons management had been coming out of our accounts in September. $2,800 a month. It's been going on for over 8 months. Over $22,000. Money I earned, money I saved, money I thought was going towards our future. I went back through our Amazon order history. I'm talking dozens. Groceries, household items even, and a coffee maker. Prenatal vitamins, a stuffed giraffe, maternity clothing in size medium, a breast pump. All of it ordered on our shared account, paid for with our shared credit card, delivered to an address that I've never been to. I spent the whole day in a kind of disassociative fog, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart. This couldn't be real. This isn't me. There had to be some explanation. Yeah, maybe it was a friend who needed help. Maybe it was some kind of charity thing. Maybe. I drove back to Maple Commons that afternoon. I told myself I just needed to see it once more, to make sure I didn't imagine it, but really, I think I knew what I was going to find. I didn't have to wait long for this to happen. It's 3 p.m. now, and the door swung open. A woman came out, visibly pregnant, 6 months along at least. She had dark hair and was wearing one of those, maternity dresses, the flowy ones. She looked happy, glowing in what a way a pregnant woman is supposed to glow. She got into a car I didn't recognize and drove away. I sat there for another hour trying to process what I've seen when Jasper's car pulled up again. I don't know what possessed me to get out of my car. I don't know what I thought I was going to see, or say even, but suddenly I was walking across the street, my legs moving without my brain's permission. I was standing in front of the unit at this point. I knocked, and the woman answered. Up close, she was prettier than I imagined, probably my age. She looked confused when she saw me, and she said, "Can I help you?" Before I could answer, I heard Jasper in the background who said, "Who is it, babe?" Babe? Well, that hit me like a physical blow. Jasper appeared behind her, and the expression on his face, oh man, I've never seen him look like this before. Not angry, not scared, just caught. Like a kid with his hand in the cookie jar. You weren't supposed to be here. Well, neither were you, Jasper. The woman looked between us, clearly confused, and uttered 4 words, "Jasper, who is this?" He closed his eyes for a second like he was getting himself gathered. He says, "This is Calliope. This is my wife." I watched the woman's face change as she processed it. The confusion became understanding, and then something that looked almost like pity. She says, Oh, I thought you were divorced." We're working on it, And that's when I lost it, working on it. What the hell does that mean, Jasper? The woman stepped back, and Jasper came outside, closing the door behind him. "Cal, please just let me explain." "Explain what?" "Explain how you've been living here for 8 months while I paid for everything. Explain why there's a baby crib getting delivered to our apartment, and explain why your pregnant girlfriend thinks that you're divorced." He tried to take my hands, but I jerked away from him. He just says that she's not my girlfriend. It's complicated. What do you mean it's complicated? That's what you're going with? He looked exhausted suddenly, older than I'd ever seen him. Her name is Rebecca. She's my ex from college. We reconnected after I lost my job. She was going through a divorce and things just happened. She got pregnant and I've been trying to help her figure things out. Help her figure things out? With my money? Help her figure things out by pretending you don't have a wife? I never said I didn't have a wife. I said we were having problems, which we were, and I was going to tell you I just needed time to figure it out. Is it yours, the baby? He was quiet for a long time, and he says, I don't know. I don't want a paternity test. That's not what I asked, and he said, I don't know, okay? It could be the timing, it's possible. I felt like the ground was opening up beneath me. How long? How long have you been sleeping with her? Since December, he admitted. But Cal, you have to understand, we were barely talking to each other. You were working all the time, and I was depressed, and she was there. I was working all the time to pay your secret apartment. I was working all the time to support you while you were playing house with your pregnant ex. Man, he didn't deny it. And that's what broke me, I think. He didn't even try to deny it. You needed me. You always said you wanted to help me, that we were a team, and I knew if I told you about Rebecca, you would leave me. And I needed the stability, okay? I needed somebody who had their crap together while I figured out mine. So, you chose to lie to me for 8 months, you chose to let me pay for your pregnant ex's apartment, and you chose to let me worry about you, cover for you, defend you to our friends while you were living a completely different life? Then he had the nerve to say, I was trying to do the right thing. Rebecca needed help, and you had more stability. And that's when I laughed and said, the right thing? The right thing would have been to be honest with me. The right thing would have been to let me make my own choices about my own life. You never would have understood. Yeah, he's right about that. I would not have understood how someone I loved and trusted could lie to my face for 8 months. I would not have understood how somebody can take my money, my time, my support, and use it to build a life with somebody else.
You're absolutely right. I don't understand it at all.
I turned to leave, but he grabbed my arm and he said,
Cal, wait. We can work through this. We can talk about it like adults.
I yanked my arm away and said, adults don't lie to their spouses for 8 months. Adults do not use partners as ATMs while they're pregnant with their ex. Adults do not pretend to be divorced when they're not. And he says, what do you want me to do? Just abandon her? She's pregnant. She doesn't have anywhere else to go.
I want you to figure out what you actually want instead of trying to have everything at once.
I want you to stop lying and I want you to stop using me. I got in my car and I drove home. I don't remember the drive. I just remember sitting in our apartment looking around at everything that suddenly felt like it belonged to a different person. The coffee mug he left on the counter that morning. His jacket hanging on the back of the chair.
The stupid gaming setup he bought with money I earned.
I packed a spend-a-night bag and went to stay with my sister for the weekend. I needed space to think, to process, to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do with any of it. When I came back on Sunday, he was sitting on the couch like nothing happened. He looked up when I walked in and smiled. He actually smiled like I've just been at the grocery store.
Oh, hey, bae. I'm glad you're back. I think we should talk about this. We can work through it.
Figure out a solution that works for everyone. Oh, a solution that works for everyone. What does that look like exactly?
Oh, well, I was thinking maybe we could be more open about things. Rebecca really needs the support right now, and I feel responsible for helping her. But that doesn't mean our marriage has to end. Lots of people have unconventional arrangements.
I started laughing, like
hysterically.
Not because anything was funny, but because the alternate was screaming or crying or both. And I said, you want me to financially support your pregnant ex while you
play happy family with her?
It's not playing happy family. I'm just trying to do the right thing. Oh, by lying to me for 8 months, huh? He flinched at my volume, but he did not back down.
I knew you wouldn't understand. I knew you would react like this.
React like what? Like somebody who just found out their hubby has been lying to them about literally everything. Like somebody who just discovered they've been unknowingly paying for their husband's girlfriend's apartment? Like someone who just found out their marriage has been a complete joke.
You always said you wanted to help me. You always said we were a team, that you would support me through everything, and this is not support.
I just stared at him. I couldn't believe the audacity. You think this is support? You think lying to me is asking for help? And he said something that made me lose it.
I think you're making this more complicated than it needs to be.
I completely lost it. I started screaming at him, and really screaming, and for the first time in our entire relationship, years of bottled up frustration came pouring out. Not just about this, but about everything. About how he's withdrawn from me, how he made me feel invisible, and how he let me carry everything while he checked out completely. He just sat there and did not fight back. Didn't argue, didn't defend himself, just looked at me with this patient, slightly condescending expression, like he was waiting for me to tire myself out. When I finally stopped yelling, he said, "You always said you wanted to help me."
Oh yeah, like I haven't heard that before, like that explains everything, like that just justified it.
I felt empty suddenly, completely hollow, like somebody had scooped out everything inside of me and just left the shell. I can't do this. I can't be in the same room as you right now.
Oh, well, where are you gonna go?
He asked me that, and there was something in his voice, not concern exactly, but something calculating, like he was running numbers in his head.
I don't know, but I'm not staying here.
I packed another bag, bigger this time, and went back to my sister's. I've been here for 3 days now, sleeping on her couch, trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do next. Well, I met with a divorce attorney yesterday. She was nice, really nice, but the conversation was brutal. We went through everything, the financial stuff, the deception, the fact that he's been using marital funds to support another woman and potentially another man's child. You may have grounds for fraud. Using marital assets to support a separate household while misrepresenting his financial dependence could be considered financial abuse. Financial abuse, huh? I've never thought of it like that, but hearing her say it made something click into place.
All those months of feeling like something was wrong, like I was the one going crazy, like I was being unreasonable for questioning things that didn't add up. It wasn't in my head. I was being lied to, manipulated, used. The attorney said that she's been seeing cases like this before. Usually men who want to leave their wives but cannot afford to. So they would secretly use their wives' money to set up their new lives while keeping the old life as a safety net. The fact that he admitted he stayed with you for financial stability is very important, she said. That shows intent to defraud. So, I went to the condo complex yesterday. Talked to someone in the leasing agency office. They confirmed that Jasper has been living there since September. Almost 9 months. He'd signed a lease under his own name, but all the payments had come from our joint account. The woman I talked to seemed uncomfortable, like she realized something was off, but had not wanted to get involved.
Is everything okay? He seems like a nice guy. Always talked about his girlfriend and how excited they were about the baby.
His girlfriend, not his ex, not somebody that he was helping out, his girlfriend. I called some of our friends yesterday, too. Turns out several of them had suspected something was going on. They'd seen him around town with Rebecca, figured we were separated or having problems, but did not want to get involved in drama. One of them, my friend Sarah, said that she'd actually run into them at Target a few weeks ago, buying baby stuff, and Jasper had introduced Rebecca as his partner.
I thought you guys were separated, Sarah said.
I'm so sorry, Cal. I have no idea that you didn't know.
Everyone thought I knew. Everyone thought we were separated or getting divorced, because that's what Jasper has been telling people. While I was at home defending him, making excuses left and right for his absence, worrying about his mental state, he was out building a completely separate narrative where I didn't exist. I went back to our apartment today to get more of my stuff. Jasper wasn't there, but I found a note on the kitchen counter that read, giving me space to process stuff. That he's been staying elsewhere for a few days. No apology, no acknowledgement of what he'd done, just that he was giving me space, like this was all about me overreacting. The Amazon package was still there unopened. The baby crib sitting in our living room like some kind of monument of how completely idiotic I've been and how much I've been played. You know what? I don't know what to do with this anymore. I keep thinking about all the signs I missed or maybe didn't want to see. The way that he's gotten defensive when I offered to help with job applications. The vague explanation about where he's been and who he's been with. The fact that he never seemed to actually be applying for jobs despite claiming that, well, that's what he's doing day by day. He wasn't actually doing that. He didn't want a job. He wanted me to keep supporting him while he figured out his new life with Rebecca. He wanted to keep all of his options open, and if things worked out with her, great. If they didn't, well, he still has me. Backup plan of the century. The worst part is that it almost worked. If that Amazon package had not been misdelivered, if I had not seen that address, I might have kept going along with it indefinitely. How long would it have lasted? Until the baby was born? Until Rebecca got tired of being the second girlfriend? Until I finally ran out of money to support both households. I feel so stupid. So incredibly monumentally stupid in all those months of worrying about him or defending him, to our friends of carrying the entire financial emotional burden of our relationship while he was living this whole other life. I was enabling it. It was, me making a mistake. And the thing that really gets me is that he doesn't seem to think he did anything wrong. In his mind, he was trying to do the right thing by helping Rebecca, and I should be proud of him for being so noble and responsible. The fact that he lied to me, used my money, betrayed my trust, destroyed my sense of reality, that's all just collateral damage in his heroic quest to be a good guy. I don't know what happens next, guys. The divorce attorney said I should document everything, keep records of all the financial stuff, prepare for what could be complicated. She said that I might be able to recover some of the money he spent on the other apartment, but it would depend on a lot of factors. I don't even know if I care about the money anymore. I mean, I do. $22,000 is a lot of money, and I'm going to need every penny I can to rebuild my life. But mostly, I just want to understand how all of this happens. I mean, for real. How someone I love and trusted could lie to me so completely for so long and think it's justified. You know, I keep going back to the moment when he said I always wanted to help him. Like my desire to be a supportive partner was something he could exploit? Like my love for him was a weakness he could use against me. Well, maybe it was. Maybe I did make it too easy for him, and maybe I should have pushed harder when things did not add up. Demanding more transparency, set better boundaries, and maybe I was afraid of being that nagging wife that I let him get away with everything. But even if that's true, it doesn't excuse what he did. It doesn't make it okay to lie to someone for 8 months, and it doesn't make it okay to use someone's money to support your pregnant ex-wife while pretending you're applying for jobs. It does not make it okay to build an entire secret life while your spouse thinks you're just going through a rough patch. I don't know who I am without him. We've been together for 6 years now, married for 3. He was my man, my best friend, my person, my partner. Now I find out he's a stranger. I don't know how to trust my own judgments anymore. If I could be so wrong about someone I lived with and slept next to, made plans with about babies, how can I trust myself about anything? How do I know what's real? Is the sky blue? I'm sitting here at 3 a.m, writing this on my sister's couch. I can hear her baby crying in the next room over. She's got this perfect little family husband who comes home every night, 5 p.m. sharp. Baby who's actually theirs, and their life makes sense. I've got divorce attorney's business cards in my purse and a baby crib in my apartment that belongs to my hubby's, well, maybe, baby, with his definitely not ex. You know, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to start over, and I don't know how to explain this to people, how to answer the questions that are coming. Maybe you can help. I don't know how to be alone after so many years of being half of something, and the worst part is I still love him. Even after everything, even knowing what he did, part of me still loves that man I thought he was. Part of me keeps hoping there's some explanation that makes sense, some way that he could be a misunderstanding? But reality sets in, and I know there's not. There's just a man who chose to lie to me every day for 8 whole months, who chose to use my money to build a life with someone else, who chose to let me believe I was crazy, rather than telling me the truth. And that's me, sitting at my sister's couch right now, finishing this post 3:13, trying to figure out what to do next. I probably won't update again, but you know what? I'll read every single comment, every single word of advice, and I'll just thank you for that now.
You know, the audacity in that guy, just saying, hey, you owe me this. Hey, you said you could have my back. Yeah, that's because she thought she was in a committed relationship with you, and it turns out you're a liar. But here's this one comment that got so much attention, guys, and to be honest with you, a lot of people do not agree with it, and I'm one of those people, but let's just read what it says. It says, look, I'm going to be the one to say what everyone's thinking, but's too polite to actually voice it. Yes, what your husband did was absolutely wrong. The lying, the financial manipulation, all of it, but holy moly. OP, how did you let this go for 8 months without connecting the dots? Your unemployed husband was mysteriously going out for hours every single day, but could not give you specifics about his job search. I mean, did you ask questions? Your finances showed charges at restaurants and gas stations across town with increasingly ridiculous excuses, and you just accepted it? I mean, some of those excuses you said were ridiculous. Oh, and you found a phone charger that didn't belong to either of your phones. And when the explanation makes 0 sense, you let it slide because you didn't want to be suspicious or nagging. Well, here's where it really gets me. You keep talking about how you were defending him and covering for him with friends and family like you were being this amazing loyal wife, but what you were actually doing was enabling his deception. Every time you make an excuse for his absence, you were actively participating in the lie. You were not protecting him. You were protecting the fantasy version of your marriage. You say you're supporting him, right? Well, he figured things out, but you never actually verified that he was figuring anything out. You never asked to see a job application, you couldn't keep track of your finances, never set any timeline for expectations. You just paid for everything indefinitely while he lived his best life on your pennies. The Amazon package thing should have been game over immediately. But even when you saw him with the pregnant woman, you first had this instinct was to look for excuses rather than face the obvious. You keep saying you trust him, but trust doesn't mean turning off your brain cells. You had a dozen red flags waving in your face like a NASCAR race, and you chose to ignore every single one because confronting reality was harder than living in denial.
Your husband is absolutely a manipulative jerk. But you're a grown woman who had, agency in this situation. You chose to give up that agency in favor of maintaining a comfortable illusion. This did not happen to you. This happened with your participation. Guys, that was the first comment. And yes, I do agree with some of the things that OP had to listen to in this comment. However, a lot of the stuff just is being harsh. Yeah, I get it. OP should have had a clue, but you know what? Here's what OP has to say to this comment, and they did not respond very nicely. OP says, "Are you kidding? This is exactly what kind of victim-blaming crap that keeps you people trapped in abusive situations. I was gaslit for 8 months by someone I trusted completely, and your response is to tell me it's my fault for not being suspicious of my own husband? You think that I should have been interrogating him about every little detail. You think I should have been demanding to see his phone, following him around, treating him like a criminal instead of my loving partner. That's not a marriage, that's a prison. Normal people don't live their lives assuming their spouse is lying about literally everything. And you know what? Forget you for calling me an ostrich and a doormat. I was trying to be a supportive partner to someone I thought was going through a depressive unemployment state. I was trying to give him space and dignity instead of micromanaging every aspect of his life." Guys, let me know about those comments down below. I can't wait to read every single comment. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you want more daily stories, do not forget to subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel down below and my other channel, my only 2 channels, Mr. Reddito and Mr. Reddito's Revenge. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, and remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.